Another book haul tonight, mostly of books that I have read in the past. I have my old doll, The Book of Van Vogt. I purchased this one back probably in the early 70s. The book is copyrighted 1972. It is not in bad shape, but it's a little faded, a little bit worn, and I found this one, and it is in just a little better shape, as you can see. A little brighter, pages are a little whiter, the doll is a little more yellow, and so I went ahead and picked it up, and it's in great shape, and it is printed copyright 1972. But it does have some small differences, so they were different printings, I suppose. And another book that I had put through the heat treatment upstairs. It really had some odor to it. And this one I've had since the mid-1970s. I used to have a hardbound copy of Heinlein's Red Planet, but somewhere along the way I have lost that. Now the heat treatment did kind of damage the spine on this one. So down at 2nd and Charles I found another copy of Red Planet, and this thing is like new. I'll try to get this tag off at some point. And it's a Del Rey trade paperback. And I believe this one was from around 2010. 2006 Del Rey books. And it is in great shape. I procured this at 2nd and Charles. And it is in just great shape. And in the back of this book is the text that Scribner's edited out of the published version back in the 1940s, I guess it was. Might have been 1948, 1950, somewhere in there. 1949 Red Planet manuscript. You see the extent of the editing that Scribner did. It doesn't look that severe to me, but they definitely edited Heinlein's book. Next here is not a replacement book, but I already had a copy of this, so it is kind of a replacement book. This one was actually it is a replacement book. This one is in better shape than mine was. And I found this for $6. And it's a Warner book, and it's in incredible shape for a hardbound from 1989. So I grabbed that, of course. And at the same store, I found this incredible find, which I have been looking for many years. A Mile Beyond the Moon, C.M. Kornbluth, a collection of imaginative tales. And I got this around About Books, Troy, Ohio, for $7.49. And I was really glad to get it. It's a double day, and this is the 1958 copyright. And as you can see, a lot of great stuff from Mr. Kornbluth right there. This was my original Tangents, and not in terrible shape or anything, but again, just a little beat up compared to the one I just found. Now, I've been meaning to read this book for decades. I had to order it through Barnes & Noble. I could not find it anywhere. And this is On Basilisk Station by David Weber. And it took them about a week to bring it in. And in shipping, it got beat up just a little bit right there. And when I arrived to pick up my novel, they offered to send it back and order another one for me or give me 10% off the price. Well, I just went ahead and took the 10% off. And so I have the book. I want to start reading this one pretty soon. This is a Bayan book. And let's see if I can figure out. This one was published in June 2024. So no wonder it looks brand new. It is, except for their shipping. But I didn't want to wait another 2 weeks for the book to show up. This one is a book that I actually ordered for my brother while he was hanging out in Florida over the winter. And I saw that it was one that he was interested in. I have not read this book. He has given it to me to read, and he really wants me to read this book. Now, Robert J. Sawyer, I am not very familiar with. Let's see, I might not be able to get that open. There we go. Nope, there's nothing in there. But he is apparently a very well-known and respected author. And he has been nominated for multiple awards over the years. This says Copyright 2000 by Robert J. Sawyer. And this is a Tor book. I can't really tell when it was printed. But I will read this one when I'm done with Basilisk Station. This one came from one of my relatives who passed away. And we are, I'm going to have to clean it up. We are liquidating her estate now and working on everything. But I spoke with my siblings and paid for this book to the estate. And this is Benjamin Franklin, Poor Richard's Almanacs, illustrated by Norman Rockwell. And this book, I believe, Paddington Press Limited, now containing an introduction by Van Wyck Brooks. I am not related to Van. And let's see if I can tell when it was printed. Copyright 1964. Well, that's all I can tell here. But it is supposed to have them all. So again, this one will go in my history section, and I will, of course, read it. Now we're coming to the books that our daughter picked up for me at Dark Star Books in Yellow Springs, Ohio. I was amazed at the book haul she pulled off, and I said to her, "How did you know what to get?" And she said, "I grew up in your library, Dad." Of course I know. So that makes sense. Now, Envoy to New Worlds is kind of difficult to come by. And she found a very good condition copy of it over at Dark Star. And just 4 or 5 months ago, I had come up with this copy of it. And it's a double book with Earth Quarter by Damon Knight. And they they didn't flip it over and put 2 different covers on it that actually matched the book. This book cover is just on the back of the book, but it is correct. And I have not had time to read this one. I have all the stories in other books. This was printed by Armchair Fiction, Medford, Oregon. And copyright 2011 by Gregory J. Luce. And I think they do these print on demand at Armchair Fiction. So again, Barnes & Noble ordered for this one for me, and it took about 4 weeks, but it showed up, and it is Envoy to New Worlds. So I had finally come up with a copy of it, and then our daughter comes up with the original copy, so of course I will keep them both. Next is Retief and the Warlords. She picked this up for me as well. This is my original copy from the early 70s, purchased at a local bookstore at the mall. And as you can see, I have worn it out pretty severely. And it is a fabulous book by Keith Laumer. I think the original copyright on this is going to be about 1968. Copyright 1968 by Keith Laumer. This copy is the one our daughter found over at Dark Star. And it is in fantastic condition. So now I have a replacement for my old beat up one that has been read a million times. And that is a paperback. And I did purchase this hardbound from a gentleman named John W. Knott Jr., bookseller. And this hardbound is not absolutely perfect, but it is close enough for me. Now, I also came across this. I went on over to Dark Star. My wife and I took a road trip, and I couldn't pass this up. I asked them if they had any Our Army at War. He whipped out like 20 of them. And I actually recognized this one from 1966. I had this comic book, and everybody knows my sob story about the comic books getting sold by my parents while I was on my honeymoon. Here it is. I had actually had this when I was 12 years old, and I was glad to actually have at least one copy of Our Army at War and Sergeant Rock. Now next, she found me replacement books for my Ancient Astoundings. This is Astounding, July 1947, with Jack Williams with folded hands. And, of course, everybody knows what that is. And it's on page 6 here. And there are the humanoids. Here's an illustration of the humanoids. And mine is just falling apart. Here is the Dark Star one. You can compare the colors on the cover here. And this one came from Dark Star. It's in much better condition. Again, not perfect, but it's 80 years old. Almost as old as I am. But so I now have a better copy of this July 1947 Astounding. And again, another replacement for Astounding. Here is my Astounding with First Contact by Murray Leinster. It is the British edition, which means it doesn't have a lot of the editorials and things in it, and none of the advertising. And she found this copy Now notice they do not match the date properly. So I don't know. I'm sure that has something to do with this being published in England, probably during the war. This one is in Britain, November 1945. The U.S. edition was published. Check out the colors on this, the definition here. May 1945, Astounding magazine. And here Campbell talks about the Nazis and rockets and bankruptcy. We have First Contact right here. Now there's more in here too. We have The Purpose by A.E. Van Vogt. An article by Willie Lay. And so now I have a genuine collectible edition of Astounding, May 1945. Oh, we've got some more magazines that she picked up for me. Here is Fantastic Universe, September 1958. Damon Knight, Lester Del Rey. In pretty good shape. Let's see who the editor was. Hans, maybe Stephen Sanderson, editorial director. Virgil Finley, cover designs. We've got Lester Del Rey, Damon Knight. I don't know, Jack Lewis. And I'll have a great time looking through this and see if they have any letters to the editor in the back. I just got these the day before yesterday. But that's in great shape from 1958. I'm sure that will be interesting. Here is Astounding Science Fiction, September 1944. Census by Clifford D. Simak. We have, oh my goodness, A Can of Paint by A.E. Van Vogt is in here, along with the Simak. And we have a Fritz Leiber, a story by the great Malcolm Jameson. And the serial is Renaissance by Raymond F. Jones. We have brass tacks in here in the analytical laboratory. This will be great reading for me. Another Astounding. September 1949. The Double-Dyed Villains by Paul Anderson. And we've got Hide and Seek by Arthur C. Clarke. The Double-Dyed Villains by Paul Anderson. Special Jobbery by H.B. Fife. And The Queen, this is a conclusion of a serial of Zamba L. Sprague de Camp. So I will be examining that for clues to science fiction there. Now, she knew I liked a lot of Larry Niven, and I have a bunch of Larry Niven. I prefer Larry Niven between 1965 and about 1980. He wrote a lot of great short stories, and he created a lot of world building for those short stories, and they were fantastic. I have not read The Patchwork Girl, and this one is a Futura Publications Science Fiction Fantasy, UK, Australia. Oh, no wonder I didn't know that one. And it's an Orbit book. Copyright 1980, Larry Niven. Futura Publications, a division of MacDonald and Publishers. London. So she also picked up this one, which is illustrated. And this one is an ace science fiction book. The Patchwork Girl, the same story. And it has a lot of illustrations in it, and it is practically like new. Copyright 1980, illustrations copyright 1980 by Fernando, an ace book. First mass market printing, December 1980. There are a lot of illustrations in this book. So I, of course, will be reading this one as soon as possible. And looking forward to that. And we have The World of Tabs, Larry Niven, an older book. I'm not going to take it out of the plastic. It appears to be in excellent condition. And now we're getting down to the end. And she came up with some incredible stuff for me. Astounding Science Fiction, August 1945, The World of Null A. This is the first installment of The World of Null A. Bob Hope in here. World of Null A. 3 parts, Part 1, A.E. Van Vogt. We have a novelette by Ross Rocklin. The great short story Into Thy Hands by Lester Del Rey, Pipeline to Pluto, Murray Leinster, and a Asimov Paradoxical Escape. An amazing issue of Astounding magazine. And it's in incredible condition. Now, of course, I will have to be very careful with this book. Now we've got perhaps the most unusual stuff my daughter came up with. Now, I have read some Edgar Rice Burroughs, and of course, all those movies in the 70s. I had the paperback copies of, a couple of them. And this is A Princess of Mars and the Gods of Mars. When Disney came out with their version of Burroughs' stories, I watched the movie and then read the book, and I actually felt the movie was pretty good. I know it lost money, and it didn't lose that much money, but I thought it was really good. So I have read some Burroughs, not exactly recently. My daughter came up with The Chessmen of Mars. And I have to be very careful with this book. Here is who owned it in 1937. The cover contains this publisher's list of books available. And some people pronounce it Grosset and Dunlap or Grosset and Dunlap. I am not sure. Again, I've got to be very careful with this one. It does not have a broken spine or anything like that, but the pages are a little loose. And I'm going to talk to my folks at my favorite bookstore about gluing that together. Edgar Rice Burroughs, 1922. Published November 1922. Copyrighted in Great Britain. Printed in the United States of America. Now, as far as I can tell, this book was printed in November 1922. I looked it up online, and here is John Carter Comes to Earth and the Chessmen of Mars. The book is in really great shape. It has illustrations, and I'm kind of afraid to open it up much. The back cover has a lot of information on it. And so this one I probably won't try to read. I'll just get another copy, a more recent copy of the book, and read that. When she bought the book, the folks out there gave her this, E.R.B.dom, Edgar Rice Burroughs-dom. The history of Edgar Rice Burroughs. They've got a million of them out there, different issues. It's not all the same thing. Now, what they're showing here is copyright 1964. But I've got to show you what's on the back of this thing. September 1st, 1975. The 100th birthday of Edgar Rice Burroughs. And they took pictures of all the folks, Tarzans and Janes of the movies, left to right. Jim Pierce, Eve Brent, Jock Mahoney, Louise Lorraine, Buster Crabbe, right there he is, Joyce Mackenzie, and Johnny Weissmuller. Down here we have Gail Bell and Russ Manning. Now, I don't know who else he could be. Russ Manning created Magnus Robot Fighter. Unless I'm mistaken, I should have got one of my Magnus books out. But I am pretty certain he created Magnus Robot Fighter, which is just a great comic book and follows the 3 laws of robotics and all that stuff. Down here is Joyce Mackenzie, and there is Denny Miller, who played Tarzan in a movie around 1964, as I recall. And here is A.E. Van Vogt's close friend, Forrest J. Ackerman. Down here again we have Johnny Weissmuller and Jock Mahoney. Now, I only saw one Jock Mahoney Tarzan in the theater, and that was Tarzan Goes to India. We saw that in the local neighborhood theater. I was like 7 years old, maybe. So this is the end of my book haul, and I think this might be the greatest book haul I've ever had. Hope everyone has a great day. That's all I have for tonight.